My granny told me that I had a gift that runs in my family, and she told me that I shouldn't be afraid of it. I should just always use my instinct, and I'd be all right.
My wife read the screenplay by Billy Bob Thornton and Tom Epperson. She thought it was really a terrific suspense thriller with great characters. She recommended that I read it, and I did. And at first I was put off by a lot of the darkness of the thing, and I even put the screenplay down. But she encouraged me to continue with it, and so I did, and I saw the character, Cate Blanchett's character, Annie Wilson, made it through all these dark times and found a certain degree of redemption and peace. So it really made it a very powerful experience for me. And I thought, maybe this is something that I could have a hand in telling.
Well, I'd worked with Billy Bob Thornton on a film called Pushing Tin, and at the end of that, we really enjoyed working together, even though we hadn't had much screen time together. And he said that he'd been writing The Gift with Tom Epperson, and I should have a read of it. And I read it and loved it, and the next thing I knew, Sam was going to direct it, and then it was happening. And I didn't actually speak to Billy Bob until like the second last day of shooting.
I got a script through my agent and manager, and then I read it, loved it, and was keen to play the part. And then I went and met with Sam Raimi, and about 10 minutes into it, he said, did they tell you, what was going on here? And then I realized at that moment that I was auditioning. And I was very fine with that.
It's sort of the standard audition process of like getting the script and reading it and being interested in it, and then going in and meeting with Sam Raimi and just sort of really wanting to do it and knowing that Cate was involved in it, and then just going after it and really just trying to be committed to that process, and then which is a whole nother thing. As opposed to actually making the movie.
This is actually my first movie since Boys Don't Cry. I had yet to find something that really moved me and that I felt a strong pull to be a part of. And when I read the script, one, I really liked the story. I liked that it was a big ensemble piece, and I mean, our cast is so brilliant.
Have you had any health problems since I saw you last?
Mine?
Have you been sick?
Back's been hurt a little.
No, it's not your back. You bleeding somewhere?
Sam and I spoke a lot about this, that we wanted Annie's psychic ability to be as normal as the skill that a doctor has, and that through the course of the film, she was drawn into darker and darker places by her gift, and by the fact that she's not dealing with elements in her own grief really and her own life.
You're not that Wilson as a fortune teller, are you?
I don't call myself that.
I'd love for you to read my fortune.
I'm pretty booked up.
You think we'll live happily ever after? What's the matter? You see something bad?
Of course not.
Young Cate Blanchett, well, let me tell you. She's great. She's wonderful. We spent a lot of time on set reciting lines from Elizabeth. She's very funny and of course very smart, but the most amazing thing about her is just her talent is like kind of awesome to watch.
It's such a pleasure to be around someone who is so good at what she does, and to watch her approach to the material and the way that she works.
My daddy's a good man. I don't hate my dad.
Hon, you need to talk about your daddy.
Why don't you tell me why I hate him? You're the goddamn psychic. Huh? You're the goddamn psychic!
I'm in awe of Giovanni's passion. I think he's so incredible and so committed and so completely immersed in the world of whatever character he's playing.
Giovanni came in and he read the part and he just blew us away. He had such a great understanding of the character, had really done his homework, and did a beautiful textured performance for us. And I couldn't believe how good he was, considering he was only like 25 years old, or 24 at the time. Really was, it's almost like he's lived a few lifetimes and had these experiences and then can recreate them in his performances.
I think there's a certain thing that I have as far as looking at it and reading something and knowing that, you know, whatever this character is going to be up to me and what I make of it, and the idea of letting my imagination try to go as far as possible into all aspects and constantly thinking about it.
You know what this is? It's a voodoo doll. I'm gonna use this voodoo doll on you. Some of your own medicine. If you don't stop seeing my wife, I'm sticking me a pin in this thing every night till you learn to leave folks alone.
Keanu plays Donnie Barksdale. What a terrible, terrible man he is.
He's damaged, and he doesn't, you know, his boundaries are different, and they're not right. They're not right. But for me as an actor, they were fun to play.
First, you think of Keanu Reeves and you think, well, he could never play that part, Donnie Barksdale. But he did such a great rendition of the man because he really understood him.
Did you know something was going to happen to your husband?
In an ESP kind of way?
Well, I don't know if they...
Don't believe in it.
I don't know, I guess I just don't believe there are any great mysteries in life. I figure what you see is what you get.
Greg is believable as a nice guy because he is a nice guy. He's a funny guy and he keeps the set laughing, and he's got a lot of warmth to him that he can tap into when his character has to, in a very short amount of time, earn the audience's sympathy, and the audience has to learn to like him, and he has that ability naturally so he can tap into it.
Wayne's a relatively simple person with simple needs, living in a great little small town, kind of keeps his ducks in a row, and has managed to land a wonderful fiancée played by Katie Holmes. They seem to have a fairly good relationship, although like most relationships, everything that they seem to have isn't necessarily what they have.
I went to the store yesterday because we was out of some things, and he had got home from work early before I could get back. He was waiting with a razor strap. My legs are all cut up, and I got welts the size of footballs on my back and my legs.
I feel guilty you paying me money to tell you to get away from him. You got to get help. Legal help.
You don't know Donnie Barksdale, Annie?
Valerie Barksdale is a victim of spousal abuse. I can't speak for other people what they'll take from her. I feel sympathetic. At first I was thinking, why does she stay? And I had to ask myself that question and answer it before I could actually play her. And like I said, I think she stays because she doesn't know any different.
Working with Sam was one of the most fulfilling experiences I've had so far as an actor.
Sam, you know, and his ability to work with actors and let them have a trust for him and empower them to be able to feel like they can go to the ends of the universe, and he can, you know, whatever you give him, he's going to do something good with it.
He's so much funnier than I thought he was going to be. I mean, of course he's a great director, and he's established, and he is doing a fantastic job with this picture, but he is a funny guy.
He's so immersed in the material, but yet he has such an extraordinary sense of humour, and he can detach and then reattach, which is great. So he's able to have perspective and offer you sort of insight.
I really like the scene with the young boy, when I kind of bring him in and talk to him about how he should tell his mama not to see my wife anymore. And then the scene that consequently comes with Giovanni is fantastic.
Motherfucker! God damn it! Fuck! Motherfucker! Shoot me! Shoot me! Shoot me, you motherfucker! Shoot me! Shoot me!
I also like the sort of the dream sequences with Kate.
A lot of people are incredibly skeptical, you know, of whether psychic powers are, you know, whether they exist or whether people are charlatans. And so we wanted it to be that even if you had no sort of sympathy for the concept of people having psychic abilities, that you would still buy that Annie Wilson had these powers.
I think that this movie really deals with the element of that sort of psychic phenomenon in an interesting way, in a very human way. It's not a big, oddly enough, aspect to the story. It's not what the story's about. The story's about people, but that element is kind of threaded nicely throughout it, and I think it'll make people ask some interesting questions, whether they believe or don't believe.
You're the soul of this town, Miss Wilson, and you just need to keep doing what you're doing.